Hey guys, welcome back to ProgramHub. My name is Vishal, and in this episode of ProgramHub, we are going to answer a very important question that is going to be largely of importance in your life, because this question had been asked a lot of very times in our ProgramHub network, and most of the people have constantly kept on asking this question to us, like how can we become a better programmer, or rather how can we become a programmer in our life. The question today we are going to answer is going to be this, and the final solution that you're going to get is the path to becoming a programmer. So there had been largely many of the questions, and one of the questions, as if I could read that for you, is I'm just a beginner at coding. I don't really know much about that. Like, I didn't know where to get the courses to learn coding because I really like coding. I find it like a good thing to learn and I want to start that. So can you give me some advices? Now, this had been one of the questions that had been sent to us, like one from one of the followers of ProgramHub community, and there had been many such questions that had been asked to us on the ProgramHub page that we have on Instagram. And there had been questions like how to become a front-end developer, what are its qualifications, then what platform and laptop would you recommend for a student that wants to code. And there had been also kind of questions like how can I start programming, such simple kind of a questions. So we thought like it's of serious importance that we must answer this question to you before even we dive deep into some of the courses and some of the videos that are related to programming. So this is going to be a very important video for you if you want to become a programmer in your life. So please be stay tuned with us for this entire video, and because we are trying to get everything that I have learned in my life as a programmer. Now, before I even start this video, I would like you all to know that the first time I wrote a piece of code in my life was in 2010. 2010 was the first time when I wrote a piece of a code in my life. I wrote that in HTML, a very basic HTML, and I just wrote some code and I just tried to open that in a browser and look at how does it looks. And then starts my journey into programming, and it has been all around 10 years for me into being programming. I had been working as a freelancer for more than 7 years of my life now, and because at the very first moment of starting programming I started my work as a freelancer. At the very beginning I was a freelance web developer, and since then I moved on ahead. Now today in this video, I'm going to guide you the entire way what I have learned in my life and what I want you all to perceive if you want to become a better programmer in your life. So please be stay tuned, do not skip the video. Let's get ahead. The very first thing, the very first thing that I would like you all to suggest, so that will be like learning a graphical programming. So what is in graphical programming and what do I mean by that? So learn something that is graphical like HTML and CSS. So HTML and CSS is very graphical. You can write a piece of lines, some lines of script, and you can just take the output of it. You can like you don't have to wait for even a minute. So you just have to save that, open that into a browser, and you can see instantly what's happening. So I would like you all to learn HTML CSS at the very first and upfront way, because this will guide you some of the most basic essentials of programming. It will not like enable you to learn programming, but it will guide you through some of the most essentials of programming. Okay, so just for that, learn HTML and CSS. This will be the most graphical way of learning and starting your journey into programming. And like, to be true to you, HTML and CSS is not actually programming, because itself it is not a programming language. This is just a scripting language, and we just write some code over here that like pushes the output into text formats and image format and so on into the browser. So HTML and CSS is not actually programming, but it guides you through some of the essentials, and like it makes you and gives you a good warm up, like aha, now I'm into ready mode, like now I can learn something more into programming. So I would really like to suggest you to start with HTML and CSS. Give it a good amount of time, like give it amount of a time around 1 or 2 months. Okay, so try to learn some of the basics, create some of the web pages, and then you can move ahead with something like C or C++ programming language. That is a very basic kind of a programming language, by the way. Okay, move ahead to C or C++. I recommend C or C++. The very reason for that is because it's a very much like it's a simple kind of a programming language. It's very easy to learn at the very beginning, and also it teaches you some of the most essential core things about programming, as in what is actually programming, how can you develop a simple logics of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and so on, what are arrays, what are like logics, what are loops inside programming. So this will guide you through the some of the most basic essential things into programming. And this is the way actually I even learned, like 2010 when I started with HTML and CSS, then eventually I moved on to C and C++ in 2011. Learning the most basics of the programming into C and C++ will guide your entire way into learning programming, because this is going to be the most important part of your life into learning programming. So I usually like recommend you all to learn C or C++. Okay, learn either of the one languages because it will make it very clear to you. So I would recommend you to learn C++. Okay, so it depends completely on you, like what do you choose, C or C++, but do learn any one of these languages very first. So learning these languages will let you know the most essential things of programming, and then you can dive into something more advanced, like you can learn Java or you can learn Python. So it depends upon completely upon choice. I learned Java over here in my life. Okay, I have done a lot of work in Java. So Java, because at the time when I was learning, Python was not into so much of trends, like Python was not so famous at that very moment. But Java was most eventually used into the industry, for as in like it was in standard into the industry. So I learned Java, and most of the times I spend time on Java, learning Java and the principles of Java, the encapsulation, the object oriented programming, and a lot of very much things into Java. So currently speaking, I would really not suggest you to go with Java. I would really suggest you to go with Python, because this is the most advanced kind of the programming language that we have. And the most important essential reason for learning Python is like most of the things are now developed upon Python. For example, machine learning, artificial intelligence, data science, all are dependent upon Python, and you have a large set of libraries evolving around Python, and it is one of the most used, in fact, programming languages. So I would really suggest you to go with Python, because it is mostly one of the most hugely like used programming language in nowadays. And according to Stack Overflow, even, and if you look at any of the surveys happening around the world, it's always like JavaScript and Python are fighting in between, like they are like trying to battle up together, like who will be the first one to succeed. Now either you can also go for JavaScript, but I would really not suggest you to go at that at the very first moment. If you have a good, like if you like JavaScript at the very first moment, like if you want to get better at web development, I would really suggest you to go with JavaScript, because that is also a very much like improved and like a very much like it can be said as a very advanced kind of an programming language, either because Python and JavaScript both are general purpose programming languages. And based upon JavaScript, then we have like JavaScript is actually based upon ECMAScript. Okay, the core of JavaScript is actually ECMAScript, and it defines mostly more programming languages like Node.js. Then it becomes very easy to learn Node.js, then AngularJS and Vue.js, React. So it becomes very easier, like if you want to get into that kinds of development. So I would really suggest you to go with JavaScript, because I'm highly on very high upon JavaScript. Like I have learned JavaScript in my life, and I have most of the times I have programmed in JavaScript, because I had been a web developer for most of the times in my life. So it completely depends upon your choice, but I would really recommend you, if you're going into programming world, I would really suggest you to go with Python. So Python is going to be very much of importance in your life, and this will like lead you to some of the most advanced kind of like advanced kind of essentials of programming and advanced kind of things that you must learn into programming. So this will lead you to that position. Now after you have learned Python, now I would really suggest you to get your dive deep into SQL. Now what is SQL? SQL is the standard query language for database. It defines the database. Okay, now why do I recommend you learning database? Because it will enable you to deal with data in real time. So it will enable you like how you can manage the data, because whenever you will be coming across some programming and you'll be coming across some projects in your life, like once you're done with learning the most advanced kind of programming, so now you'll be really having your hands on some of the projects. So when you'll be dealing with some of the projects, like then at that very moment you'll have to deal with data. To deal with data, you'll need the database system. So that's the reason like I want you to get into the fundamentals of database. Don't like I don't recommend you like you become the master of database, but yes, you must know the most fundamental features and the most essential things about database, how to interact with database, what are the most essential query languages, and what are the most essential commands, that is the SQL commands for database. So please do learn these things into database. Then after that, I would really suggest to you the most highly advanced thing, like the most essential thing that I think is of the most importance apart from learning anything into programming, is learning algorithms and the data structures. So algorithms and data structures is of the utmost importance in your life if you really want to become better programmer. Okay, so if you want to become a better programmer, algorithms and data structures will be of the utmost importance. This is the 5-star marked thing in your life, because this will enable you to develop logic in your mind. Because programming is not just writing codes, right? Programming is not just about writing codes. Programming is all about getting to the solution. You have a problem, you want to get through the solution. Now to get to the solution, you will really have to deal things like how you can derive a solution for a problem. So algorithms and data structures will allow you, okay, this will allow you more better methods for deriving solutions for the problems that you get through. Because logic is the most essential part of any project in programming, and programming, it all comes down to logic. If your logics are right onto the way, you can solve any problem that comes your way. But if your logics are wrong, if you don't get your logics right, if you don't get your algorithms right, you will never derive a solution. You'll never be able to get to the solution that you want. So programming is not just all about writing codes. Writing code is just 20 to 30% of any project. The most essential part, the most crucial part of any project is writing or defining the solution. How can we get to the solution? The defining the path that is entirely developed onto a feasible way. When we get through some of the most feasible ways, like okay, this way, this is a problem, and this way we can get through the solution. So that is the most essential part of like any project and any programming language. So I would really suggest you to go through and like invest as much time as you can on learning the algorithms and data structures, because this will improve your logics to a lot. If your logics get right, you will get better at programming. I have spent an enormous amount of time on logics, and logics just don't come your way just by like learning the programming. Like take up any simple thing. It can be a very simple problem in your life, and think how you can like you can solve that problem. And once you can derive a solution for that problem, you'll get your logics developed. So logic building doesn't come just from learning algorithms and data structures. You say that I have learned everything into like algorithms and data structures and my logics are great. I won't say that. Logics come from like deriving solutions for every problem you come across in your life. So that is how you build the logics. So please please do learn about like algorithms and data structures and invest a lot of time into them, because it will get your logics right. Now after you have invested, and this is an ongoing process by the way, like after, we can't say like after you have done with learning algorithms and data structures, it's an ongoing process, you will continue to evolve on this. Okay, in the meanwhile, I would really suggest you, like if you want to become a good web developer, since web development is on a very high rise today, so I would really suggest you to get your way through some of the most basics of PHP, and also learn, like you can learn some of the most CMS languages, like it can be WordPress, or it can be Webflow, or it can be any other CMS language. Like it's not a CMS language, but just get your way through these CMSs, because it will allow you to quickly build websites, quickly try to get solutions for most simpler things in your life. Okay, so I would really suggest you even to learn these all things, because these are just some of the basic things that you must go through at least once in your life. Like it doesn't matter if you want to settle onto these, but at least once you must go through these all things. Okay, now once you're done with this, once you're done with all of these, now the final part is just one thing that is left in your life to becoming a better programmer. That is, I would like to request you all, like at least for once, okay, once again I'm requesting you, like at least for once, try your hands on mobile development. Okay, so get your hands on mobile development. So mobile development, that means like try to build some applications for mobile. That will be like, for example, that will be Android, or it can be for iOS, doesn't matter on what platform you're trying to build upon. But I would really recommend you like to get your hands on onto mobile development, so that will really get you through the complete suit. Like now you're ready to become a better programmer. And to your excitement, and I don't want to break your excitement, like now I have become a programmer, whatever I have explained till now, that is just the basics. Yes, this is just the basics of becoming a programmer. If you've learned this much all things, you are now ready to become a programmer. These are just the basic ingredients. Now, because now look over here, now you know almost everything that you wanted to, right? Now you know something about web development. Now you know about database. Now you also know about algorithms and data structures. Now you know about PHP. Now you know about Android. Now you know about iOS. Now you know about Python, JavaScript. And like once you have gone through all of these things, now you have gone through almost everything. And in your way through all these things, you will also touch some of the parts of like other languages. It can be AngularJS, it can be React.js, it can be Vue.js, or it can be any other language. Okay, so then can be an n number of languages that you might touch while you're going through all of these things. And there will be a lot more things that you will learn through by yourself in your entire journey of learning programming. So once you have done with all of these things, you have went through almost everything, now you need to make up a decision in your life. Okay, now you need to make up a decision in your life, as in what do you want to become better at. Okay, because now you have seen everything, now it's the time for you. It's like you're in a buffet and you have tasted every food, and now it's time for you to choose what has been the best for you. So what tasted the best to you? Now it's time for you to choose that. Now, would you like to go ahead with mobile development? Would you like to become a mobile developer? Or would you like to become a web developer? Or would you like to become a software developer? Or would you like to get into something into that is new into the trends, like machine learning, data science, or anything else like that kind? So now it completely depends upon you. So the reason why I like said you to learn all of these things was this very reason, because now you have tasted everything. Because whenever I guide people, I always say them, taste everything first and then choose what is best to you. Okay, so taste everything that is for you, and then choose the best one. So now you have got the taste to everything. Now you can become anything, but you cannot become everything. So please make sure like you choose your direction. Now where do you want to go? Now for example, if you want to get better at mobile development, let's say you want to get better at mobile development, so now you are right onto your path, like you have set your path for yourself. And so now you can go ahead like learning Android into a more depth. Then you can also learn iOS, because now you're like full-fledged into mobile development, like you want to become the most advanced developer on planet for mobile development. So now you have to learn everything into mobile development. Now get a PhD degree in mobile development. Now eventually you don't have to get to an university to get a PhD degree. That you can get right away by sitting at your home if you're dedicated and if you're disciplined enough. So you can get that. So now is the time for you to choose what is best for you, and that is how you can become a better programmer. And this is the path to becoming a better programmer. And once you become a better programmer, my friends, there is no limits to you. So this is how you can take your journey into becoming a programmer. So this is all what I have learned in my life into the last 10 years of investing myself into programming, and this is what I want to give away to you all. So this is the most important lessons that I have learned in my life, like throughout the journey of learning programming. And I took a 10 years of journey into this, but you can shorten this down to like 1 year or 2 years of journey, and then you can drive your way to becoming the master of whatever you have chosen for yourself. For example, it can be a web developer, mobile developer, or anything else that is of your choice. So if you have any more doubts, please leave that in comments below. Please let us know if you like this video. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. Meet you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.